The valet gave me a strange look when I handed over the keys to my matte black 2024 Lucid Air Sapphire. As if I didn't belong in front of the Haven, a luxury resort nestled in the heart of Lake Tahoe's South Shore, with its signature silver pines, glass terraces, and an infinity pool that overlooked Emerald Bay like a throne. I didn't blame him. Dressed in dark jeans, a charcoal Henley, and a windbreaker, I didn't exactly scream VIP. But I wasn't there to impress anyone. Not yet. As I crossed the curved driveway toward the entrance of the private Westwood Pavilion, closed to the public that night for a private event, my half-sister Clarissa stepped forward, high heels clicking on the marble as if she owned the place. "Can I help you?" she asked, tone already laced with disdain. "This is a private family event." Her voice grated, nasal and theatrical. The kind of voice that could sound elegant on the phone, but in person was just brittle and shrill. My father's 60th birthday was being celebrated inside in a ballroom I had personally designed 3 years ago, down to the recycled wood grain floors and the backlit stone bar imported from Verona. I paused, staring at Clarissa, polished, smug, and wrapped in a sequined navy gown that shimmered under the entrance lights like a disco ball. I didn't answer right away. I didn't need to. Behind her, I could hear the faint echo of laughter from inside, the deep, unmistakable laugh of my father, Richard Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore and Klein Financial, a man who once told me I'd never be more than a maintenance man with a dream. My name is Logan Whitmore. I'm 39, a design architect turned entrepreneur. And this is the story of how I took back my seat at the table I built from concrete, vision, and quiet vengeance. They hadn't seen me in almost a decade, not since I walked away from the family business and the inheritance that came with it. That night, at 29, I left my father's stone mansion in Greenwich, Connecticut, with nothing but a duffel bag, a $2,400 tax refund, and a sketchbook full of building designs no one in my family ever took seriously. I tried to pitch them on repurposing underutilized spaces for luxury short-term rentals, converting dead malls and warehouses into eco-resorts and boutique hotels. Ideas they said sounded like a poor man's dream. Clarissa, in particular, loved mocking me. She once asked, "Logan, do your buildings come with drive-thrus?" in front of our father's country club friends during Sunday brunch at Winged Foot Golf Club. But that was 10 years and $100 million ago. Now I own Havenstone Group, a design-build investment firm that develops high-end sustainable properties across Colorado, Utah, California, and Nevada. The Haven Resort where Clarissa was gatekeeping tonight was our flagship, my flagship. And nobody, especially not someone who once laughed when I said I wanted to design experiences, was going to keep me out of it. "This event is for family and associates only," Clarissa added, stepping into my path. Her eyes, a cold steel blue, narrowed as she looked me over. "The catering staff is already inside, if you're here to drop something off." I raised an eyebrow. "Do you always greet guests like this, or am I just lucky tonight?" She blinked, not quite registering the sarcasm. "Logan?" Came another voice, my mother's voice, clipped and perfectly modulated like always. Elena Whitmore emerged from the side door, still in her yoga-toned 60s, swathed in champagne-colored silk, and wearing pearls I recognized from a Tiffany's private collection preview years ago. "I told you not to come." Her tone was flat. "We didn't want this drama." Drama. That was rich, considering the text she'd sent me 2 days earlier. "We're keeping the birthday intimate. Just immediate family and people who matter. You understand." Not a single word about me being welcome. No invitation. No address. I'd found out only because one of my own event coordinators, Kristen bless her, asked if I'd be stopping by to approve the lighting grid for the Whitmore party in Pavilion West. "You didn't even RSVP," my mother added sharply. "That's usually required when you don't own the venue." "Except," I said, pulling out my phone and showing her the reservation details logged under our corporate system. "I do." Her expression faltered. Clarissa's jaw tightened. "What are you talking about?" my mother asked. "Your father booked this." "No," I said, still calmly. "Whitmore and Klein paid a deposit. But the pavilion is operated under Havenstone Hospitality LLC, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of my company, Havenstone Group, so technically, you're all my guests." For a moment, both women froze, as if trying to mentally backpedal through every insult they'd hurled my way over the past 10 years. "You're not serious," Clarissa said, scoffing. "You think owning one hotel gives you bragging rights?" I smiled faintly. "This is number 12. Aspen was number 1. Then Park City, Boulder, Napa, Santa Fe, Sedona, Big Sur, Carmel, Jackson Hole, Monterey, and now Tahoe. Plus 5 more in construction." I let that sit in the cold evening air for a second, then added, "I stopped telling people what I was doing a while ago. Started showing them instead." My mother exhaled sharply. "Even if that's true, this is a family affair. You can't just barge in." "You barred me from a place I own," I replied. Seems ironic. A pause. Then I reached into my jacket and pulled out a slender black envelope with gold trim. I brought something for Dad, I said, handing it to Clarissa, who looked at it like it might bite her. What is this, a check for $50? She said sarcastically. Actually, I said, it's a notarized deed transfer. Titled to the 3-bedroom villa in Big Sur he used to talk about retiring to someday. One of my most secluded properties, facing the cliffs. Furnished, private trail access. Full concierge service. It's his now. I gave a half shrug. Unless you think he'd prefer a tie. Inside, I could hear someone calling for Clarissa. The party was in full swing. She flinched, clearly unsure what to do. Don't make a scene, my mother whispered. This isn't the time. That's funny, I said. It never is until the script flips. At that moment, the side door opened again, and Troy stepped out, my director of guest relations, still wearing the slim charcoal suit I had custom tailored for him last fall. Mr. Whitmore, he said with a slight bow of the head. The executive lounge has been prepared for you. Chef Ramirez is waiting for you in the tasting gallery with the sample menu. Shall I escort you? He glanced at my mother and sister without a flicker of surprise. We weren't expecting guests of yours to cause such a delay at the entrance. My mother turned an impressive shade of white. Chef Ramirez? She repeated, clearly recognizing the name. Clarissa's voice cracked. Ramirez, as in Michelin star, yes, I said. He left Mirazir's U.S. partner program last year to work exclusively with my resort group. I nodded at Troy. I'll be right in. I turned back to my mother and sister. You told me I'd embarrass the family. You told me I wouldn't make it without the Whitmore name. I did more than make it. I built my own name, and now the Whitmore name? It gets through doors because it's associated with me. Then I walked past them into the building I designed, funded, and owned every inch of it. The lights shifted to accent mode as I entered. Warm tones washing over polished wood, cascading stone, and the chandelier I had commissioned from a Brooklyn-based glass artist I'd met at a gallery opening in Soho. Guests turned to look. I heard my name murmured, Logan? Logan Whitmore, as I walked toward the private lounge. I wasn't supposed to be here, but I was here. And everything around me existed because I made it happen. The lounge doors opened with a soft hum, revealing a sleek, glass-walled space overlooking the moonlit surface of Lake Tahoe. Inside, soft jazz played from the Sonos ceiling array, and the scent of citrus cedarwood diffused through the air. Subtle nod to the Havenstone signature scent line I developed with a boutique perfumer in Santa Barbara. My father sat at the head of a long, rustic walnut dining table custom built from a 200-year-old repurposed barn beam, another detail I'd overseen, surrounded by 30 or so guests. Some I recognized, others I didn't. Business partners, old money family friends, the usual suspects from the Whitmore social circuit. But it was the man seated across from my father who caught my attention first, Howard Kessler, regional director at Hawthorne Capital. The same Hawthorne Capital that had just pitched Havenstone a 9-figure acquisition deal less than 3 weeks ago. His expression shifted when he saw me. Logan? He said, surprised. Didn't expect to see you here tonight. I smiled. I get that a lot. My father's head turned sharply, eyes narrowing. What are you doing here? He asked, his voice cutting through the room like glass. We had a guest list. You did, I said. But I own the venue. A beat of silence passed. Howard's brow furrowed. You own the Haven? The entire Havenstone group, I confirmed. We've probably exchanged emails, but my VP handles most of the acquisition talks these days. His eyes widened as understanding sank in. Jesus Christ, he muttered, then chuckled and raised his glass. You've got everyone talking, you know? The boutique to empire pivot? Genius. So you're Whitmore's son? Guilty, I said, glancing at my father. Though I've been out of the family firm since I was 29. Around the table, murmurs grew. Havenstone, wait, that's Logan? He's the one behind that Aspen Eco Retreat. Didn't GQ feature his caramel project last month? He's the guy who turned a burnt-out shipping yard into that luxury resort in Marina del Rey. My father's face had gone pale, his fingers tightening around the stem of his wine glass. You built this? He asked incredulously. All of it? I nodded slowly. Started with one property in Boulder. Took me 4 years to break even. Lived in the construction trailer most of the time. But it grew. I paused. It grew without you. I could tell the words stung. The silence from the head of the table was deep like a reckoning. Why didn't you ever say anything? My father asked quietly. You were so hell-bent on going your own way. I met his eyes. Because you told me my way was beneath you. You told me design wasn't real business. That experiences were for fools with no real assets. I didn't need your validation then. I don't need it now. Clarissa and my mother had entered behind me, standing awkwardly near the sideboard, visibly stunned. I turned to them. Clarissa, your firm's lease proposal. Now I understand why the numbers were inflated. You were desperate. Your managing partner sent me a handwritten note trying to negotiate. You needed that lease. Desperately. She blinked. That's you. The investor group? There's no investor group, I said. It's just me. I own the property. I turned to my mother. The mountain house in Vale you wanted to rent last Christmas but couldn't get? Booked under a mysterious LLC? Mine too. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Then I turned back to my father. Happy birthday, Dad. The envelope Clarissa wouldn't accept has the deed to the Big Sur villa you always said you'd retire in. It's yours, free and clear. I placed it on the table in front of him. Not because I owe you anything, but because I've never needed to keep score. He stared at it like it was some kind of test. Why now? He finally asked, why come here at all? I exhaled slowly. Because I'm tired of pretending I'm not who I am. I built all this from scratch. I didn't need the Whitmore name. I made my own. But I'm done hiding because you think being an architect makes me less than an investment banker. I'm done letting you decide which of your children is worthy. Clarissa's fiancé, Zach, stood frozen near the fireplace, looking suddenly very uneasy. He leaned toward her and whispered something. She shook her head. He whispered again, more insistently this time. Then he walked out fast, just like that, gone. Well, someone muttered. That's awkward. Gavin, Clarissa's boss and fiancé, had clearly just learned that her access to a major office lease was contingent on me. And I didn't do favors for people who tried to keep me out of my own properties. The room was still. Finally, my father stood. I don't know what to say, he admitted. You don't have to say anything, I replied. Just know this, everything you see around you exists because I chose to believe in myself when no one else did. I turned toward the rest of the room. Please, enjoy the evening. Drinks are on the house. My house. Then I turned and walked toward the open terrace overlooking the lake. I needed air. Not because I was angry, because I finally felt free. I leaned on the railing, watching the moonlight glitter on the water, the hum of conversation slowly picking up behind me. A few moments later, I heard soft footsteps. It was my father. You surprised me tonight, he said. You didn't think I had it in me. He gave a weak laugh. No, I didn't, but you were right. I measured success in the wrong currency, and I'm sorry for that. I should have supported you. I nodded slowly, not looking at him. You can't undo what's been done. But you can stop pretending Clarissa's shiny packaging means she's the only one worth loving. He said nothing. The silence said plenty. Can you ever forgive me? He finally asked. That's not the question you should ask, I said. You should ask if you can ever earn my respect. Because respect is what you took away. He bowed his head slightly. Then, surprisingly, placed a hand on my shoulder. I hope I can, he said. And I hope this place is where we can start. I finally looked at him. Then stay. Enjoy the night. Be proud for once, not because you created me, but because you didn't destroy me. I left him there, standing alone on the terrace. When I re-entered the lounge, the energy had shifted. People I hadn't seen in years were suddenly eager to shake my hand, propose partnerships, ask for design input. The Blackwolves from Palo Alto offered to invest in my next property. The Holloways asked if I'd consider developing something in Jackson. Clarissa stayed silent for most of the evening, seated alone, her phone buzzing unanswered. My mother kept hovering behind me, trying to smile, trying to act like this was all part of the plan. But the truth had already been spoken, and the room would never forget. I didn't need their approval anymore. I'd created something far more valuable than legacy. I'd created impact. As the last of the guests departed, I walked up to the private elevator and scanned my fingerprint. The doors opened with a soft chime. I stepped inside and rode to the penthouse. The suite built for the founder, outfitted with details only I would appreciate. Reclaimed oak panels from a barn in Vermont, blackout glass that faded on voice command, a fireplace built with riverstone from Montana. I poured myself a glass of the 2005 Bordeaux I'd been saving for 10 years and stepped out onto the balcony. Below me, Tahoe slept under moonlight, quiet and grand. I didn't crash a party tonight. I reclaimed the space that was mine. A place I envisioned, paid for, built without anyone's help. Tomorrow the headlines would shift. The whispers would change. The family dynamic would never be the same. Clarissa would no longer be the golden child. My mother's favorite icebreaker, my daughter's a partner in a law firm, would sound quaint. Gavin's firm would keep calling, asking if we'd reconsider the lease terms. But tonight, none of that mattered. I wasn't seeking revenge. I wasn't proving them wrong. I was standing in the truth of what I built, and for the first time in my life, I didn't need anyone to see it but me. If you enjoyed this story, please give a thumbs up to the video and consider subscribing to the channel for more powerful true life stories.